It's all yours.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Green Committee meeting. Today is January 14th. Can we please have the roll call?
Paul Klein, Emily Kincaid,
Here.
Dr. Shanna Tharp Gilliam.
Present. Okay, thank you. So next up, we have informational items. First, can we have the financial update?
We'll turn things over to the manager of wet weather programs. Tim, this is your baby. Take it away.
Thank you, Arletta. Just real quick, everyone can see the screen, title screen, and moving forward, meeting agenda. Group for program financial update every January. After previous year's accounts have all been pulled together. Karen and the finance team sends me information. As of 2024, over $31 million has been dispersed to the municipalities. This is money that is reimbursable. So you can see over time, our funds being laid out to the municipalities have increased substantially. Especially last year, we almost reimbursed the municipalities close to $10 million. So this is yet again, a very positive impact of ALCOSAN's GROW program, being able to get money back to the municipalities for them to be able to reinvest in their own communities. Where the program is currently through cycles 1 through 9, ALCOSAN had committed over $90 million. Of that, the $31.5 million has been paid out. But then $20 million in uncommitted funds came back into the program. So now where we're at, little shy of $38.5 million of ALCOSAN commitments that have yet to be dispersed to the municipalities. I want to take a moment just to thank Karen and her team for getting me this information, also taking the time to walk through the accounting of the program. It's a big team effort here to make this program a success, and can't really do this without her. So thanks, Karen. Any questions on the financial update?
So what is our vision for use of the funds that are uncommitted on closed projects?
That money, the funds uncommitted on closed projects, goes back into the pool. And Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is my understanding. So we may remember over a year ago, PWSA had a $10 million grant, and we had to rescind it because the project was not moving. That $10 million doesn't disappear. It went back into the GROW funds. So that money can be reinvested back into the municipal projects.
Thank
You are 100% correct, Tim. That's our understanding as well.
Are there any other questions? Okay. None. We'll move on to program implementation status, where we are at currently through cycles 1 through 9. What you see in front of you is a bar, various columns, and every column color represents a phase of a project that we offered an award to. Again, thanks to Karen, I've revised how I call my projects, because she's got a very good definition of where projects are. So the purple ones are projects that are final and closed, meaning that the money has been, all the money has been given to the municipality. We've received their final report. We have officially closed it out. And those projects are on their 20-year O&M program. Interim close means that the projects have finished construction. They could still have some outstanding monies remaining, but the project itself has been finished up. And we're just awaiting the final report and the final reimbursement so that we can then close out and initiate and begin that 20-year O&M program. Performance evaluation is a tricky one, and there's not many of them, but these are the projects where the municipality may be done with construction. They may have a little bit more ability to do some more work. It's just they got to take a look. They more likely than not have the funds and grow remaining to do some more, but they're not quite yet sure where they're at. Construction's straightforward. Those are projects that are still in construction. Design, you'll notice that cycles 9 and 8 and 7 have a lot of design work. These projects do take time to get out on the street, begin the construction. And even when the construction does begin, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to get back to the program. But you'll notice that we've got a lot of projects that are going to be coming up over the next few years. Probably well over 50 projects are probably in the queue. And with cycle 10 coming up, there's going to be more coming. So it's not slowing down at all. It's a good thing. And then last, the red ones, those are projects where we offered an award and the municipality either declined the offer or somewhere along the way that offer had to be rescinded, either because they wanted to take another look, a fresh look at it, or they didn't have the funds, or ALCOSAN had to rescind that one, $10 million one. So that's where we're at with all of these projects.
I actually have a question for you. First of all, I love a well-designed, well-laid out visual. So this is really it's bringing joy to my heart. So help us understand. We've got a cycle 1 project and also a cycle 2 project and even a cycle 4 project that are still in the design phase. Help us understand how projects from 8 years ago can still be in design phase.
That is a fantastic question. The project from cycle 1, the municipal, in cycle 1, we took a lot of conceptual designs. We were trying to get the program off the ground. And that particular project was very conceptual, and it was a project that the municipality was working with a community group to implement a project. The project just seems to be consistently stalling. I had a meeting back in November with the municipality about a project that's coming up, but we did discuss this one. I think that this is probably a conversation for the future on how we work with these, and I'm always open to suggestions. At a certain point, we may need to find solutions for projects like that. But what we try not to do is just say, we try our best to work with the municipalities and try to figure out why the project's not moving along. I could go through the cycle 1 and the cycle 2 projects. I know exactly what they are. It's just
That
taking
makes
a while.
sense. That makes sense. It looks like there have been a lot of lessons learned here, particularly when we look at the decreasing number and overall percentage of projects that are in red as rescinded and declined. You know, it's, you know, you can see in the data that, you know, early on in the cycles, you know, there may have been some projects that for whatever reason weren't going to be viable. But that percentage has steadily decreased over the course of the cycles, and that's really good to hear. You know, that's what you call process improvement. So that's really good to see. Um, you mentioned that the project from cycle 1 that is still in the design phase is a partnership with a community organization and a municipality. And I know, you know, based on the work that I've done with community organizations, you know, oftentimes, you know, it does take more time and effort to kind of get those moving, but the reward is often very large because you do have a community grassroots buy-in to the process. So I can you know, just continue to encourage you all to, you know, do what we can and continue to support those types of efforts. You also mentioned looking at, you know, how can you learn lessons from that process to improve it looking forward. Not that you would have this information right now, but it would be interesting to see how many projects we can add to the pipeline that do have strong community organization partnerships, because I think this is a space where ALCOSAN can really demonstrate its partnership with the community. I mean, I love this program and I love seeing some of the products that we produce, you know, with these projects. And I know that, you know, community organizations and people and residents in neighborhoods are really impacted by the flow of water and the way it's, you know, collecting in their backyards, literally. So I would love to see if we can, you know, consider how we can continue to enforce and encourage, reinforce and encourage community organizations to be a part of this process.
I 100% agree, Dr. Gilliam. We try our best to facilitate the discussions, and we're always willing to be at the table, you know, with these partnerships and just let them know what the program can do for them. So completely agree. Excuse me. Are there any other questions on the implementation status of cycles 1 through 9?
Not for me.
We just recently got our cycle 10 applications in last Friday. We extended the due date for the applications because of the holidays. We invited 18 projects, and of those 18 projects, we received 16 of them. Crafton Borough and PWSA both identified during the process that they were not going to be able to submit for these projects. Crafton will be reevaluating the project type, and PWSA is working, needs to work with the city of Pittsburgh on a partnership for that green project at Southside Park. But outside of that, this was the smoothest cycle. Working with IT, we developed a way to get the applications in, all the backup information in, so that we had an opportunity to review the information prior to the official deadline. And if we had questions prior to the deadline, we had the ability to talk to the municipality and their engineer. And it made for a very smooth process. So lots of kudos to the ALCOSAN IT department for making this, for streamlining this whole process. I told um, the person in charge how happy I was with how this turned out. But anyway, 16 projects, and we've already started the review process. We had a meeting yesterday with the Grow review team, and what we see here is the schedule that we have throughout January, February. But the most important date, as always, is where that little star is on March 18th, where we provide the Green Committee with our recommendations. If there are any questions about cycle 10, be very happy to answer them.
I would
Hearing-
love to see some sort of a tour of these of the projects, as we've done so much investing in our region in these various projects. And I know when I was in I went to the One Water Summit a few years back. They took us on a bus and we went around to see some of the green infrastructure, water projects that they were doing. And, just to be able to see, what they've done and to hear about the impact and the change that that's resulted from this work. I think, it's something that really people need to see. And I know we've said that before, but, it's just once you've actually seen some of these places and some of these projects in other parts of the country, you're like, we're doing this here in our region. And I just think it needs to be highlighted and showcased. You guys
Yeah.
hide your light under a bushel. Let it shine.
We can, and we have folks that can help us pull a tour together. So we try to make that happen. Okay, moving on. Next informational item is project performance. What we see here are we have 101 projects that have been completed and who have submitted a final report. The chart here shows the breakdown of the various types of projects that we've had that have been completed. Those are, the majority of our projects, but sanitary sewer systems are also, 2/3 of our service area. So when you break all this down, it is, pretty much balanced. We have the green infrastructure project, 16 have been finished, 17 sewer separation jobs have been finished. 3 direct stream inflow removal projects have been finished, and then 2 system optimization projects. And want to highlight system optimization is a little bit different in the 5, because that is a project that is directly impacting an overflow. It's not necessarily a source control project. It's more of making sure that your system is operating better. So that could be a pump station, or that could be upsizing a pipe. Those are typically lower capital projects with huge impacts. And that was also a project, that was a grow project type that we identified in cycle 1 and then implemented in cycle 3. So since cycle 3, we've had these system optimizations. They're few and far between, but they do occasionally pop up. We do encourage those as much as any other project. If it works and if we think that it can be successful, we work with the municipality to make it happen. We have two final reports that are currently under review. Those are in the I&I category, but 99 of them are totally complete. And the rest of the system, the performance evaluations will be based on those 99. So we have the various project types, and we classify them as projects that are overperforming, that are within plus minus 25%, kind of in what we were expecting, and then projects that were underperforming based on what we were assuming. No surprise, a lot of projects are coming in above what we were anticipating. Nearly half of them overperform, which is great because we're trying our best to learn from what our assumptions were, and then see what the results end up being. Nearly half of the rest of the projects are within what we were assuming, and then a small portion were underperforming. And that number I don't think has changed very much in the past year. I think last year we may have been at 10 also. So we're learning from previous projects and making improvements as we're moving along. And then the final results, based on those 99 projects, we take the monitoring information, we take the final reports, and we then assess how much water did we remove from the system in a year. And we surpassed 1 billion gallons in 2024 of water removed in a typical year. Now, these are estimates, but the estimates are based off of off of monitoring data and modeling that we have done. And then based off of that removal, we are estimating that the projects that have been completed, over 200 million gallons of overflow has been reduced from our system. So it's very good.
That's a staggering amount of water.
Yeah, and then I think Doug always saying well, we treat 72 billion at the plant, and it may seem like a drop in the bucket sometimes, but that's a lot of water. I mean, we did that whole thing last year with all the accrashers, and that's an awful lot of water that's out of the system. And I think we're seeing the benefits of this based on all the monitoring I've seen. It's improving the system and how it's operating.
And I mean, it's not a drop in the bucket. If your bucket only has 72 drops in it, then yeah, but we have more 72 drops. So I think we're doing great.
I do too, Dr. Gilliam. I do too. The chart that I'm showing you right now was a recommendation from our regulatory agencies when we had we provide an annual report to them. And so what this is showing is based on the projects that have been completed year by year, cumulatively, how have those projects added to removing? And so since the beginning of GROW, and these are just GROW projects, we're estimating that almost 6 billion gallons of water have not entered into the system in that time frame. So in those 10 years, almost 6 billion gallons of water not coming to ALCOSAN, not getting treated, not contributing to overflows. And that number is just that the slope of that curve is just going to continually go up, up, up. As more projects start coming in and showing how effective they are. And if there are no questions on this one, I can move on to our last informational item, which is program guidelines. What are program guidelines? They provide the criteria and information to grant applicants. And every cycle, we review the program guidelines internally, and if necessary, make changes to those program guidelines. We have two classifications for the modifications we make of program guidelines. Recurring modifications, which are dates and cycles. And because we always have recurring modifications, we always present the program guidelines to the Green Committee for recommendation to present to our board. So, in March, we will be presenting the program guidelines to the committee for recommendation to the board. Also, the second modification are program modifications, and these are adjustments intended to improve or clarify the program. If we identify an improvement that needs to be made, we will modify the program guidelines, present those program modifications to the Green Committee, and then for recommendation to the board. But if I had program modifications, there are 5 steps that we go through. And right now, we're review the program guidelines. And if I had program modifications, we'd be starting up the second phase. I'm happy to say that after cycle 9, cycle 10, we're not identifying any program modifications. So it will still go to the committee. It will still need to go to the board, but the only changes are going to be the dates and the cycle references. Everything else is going to stay the same. This is the time that I ask my friend Max, did I state all of that correctly? I'm hoping Max is here. I wasn't sure if I saw him or not.
I'm here, Tim, and yes, to use the chair's phrase, due to process improvement, we have not had to make significant changes to the program guidelines for some time. So that is our process.
Thanks, Max.
Yep.
So again, this will be brought up again as an action item in March. That's it for me. I will stop my sharing.
Very nice.
Thank you.
As always, Tim, an excellent presentation, very clear, very thorough, and this is one of the highlights of my work on the ALCOSAN board is, walking through the fact that, I remember very well when we were first starting this program and we were just trying to decide, what's the cap? How many projects, what's the program going to look like? And we've gone from just a twinkle in your eye to a well-oiled machine with no changes this year. It makes my heart feel good. It's like watching a baby grow up and go on off to college. So very nice work.
It's like you said, it's a well-oiled machine. The ALCOSAN, Jacobs, working together with the municipalities, it is really running very smoothly now, and I'm very happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right. Well, if there are no additional comments, I do not see any new business on the agenda. Is that accurate, Mrs. Williams?
That is accurate.
Okay, well, seeing no additional business, then we are going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting is
In March.
March. It is in March. That is one thing we know for sure.
March 18th,
Thank you.
March 18th.
March 18th. So we will come back together on March 18th. And until then, we will bid you adieu. So meeting adjourned. Thank you.